but for now, this should be plenty, so I'm just going to go straight into this game. So, going into the game, we're of course going to be looking at this from my perspective as I, take a sip of water. I know I'm against Lost Box. I know that whatever Lost Box deck I played against is playing like some weird jank, and I know it beat Inteleon in top 8, right? So that's really all I know. I'm playing against a Lost Box deck. I know it plays Iron Hands. I know it plays Roaring Moon. That's pretty much the only thing I know though. So obviously, I found out later that Christian Horas does not play Water Energies, Force Greninja, or Psychic Energies, or Sableye at all, really. Um, so obviously, I did not need to bench Jirachi Manaphy, but benching Jirachi Manaphy is safer in this matchup, kind of going in blind, because I don't really need the bench space regardless. But I kind of get pseudo punished in game 2, but we'll get there when we get there. So just waiting for this as the casters introduce the decks. And we lay out a prize card. So let's see what's priced here on both sides. Okay, so I'll wait for this. Nothing. This is Mirage Gate box. Well, it's super effective glasses, but nothing really super special on either side. Like one Colress, and one Ryan is kind of annoying, especially the Ryan if I need like early start plays. But it's nothing like monumentally bad, and having the one Comfy in the prices is actually really nice, just as like a heavy ball target if I draw it off like Colress and I have dead cards, right? Um, so yeah, the prize cards on really both sides are just kind of all right, right? Nothing really bad. One thing I do want to check though is I want to check how many Boss's Order Christian Horas is playing, because that could be relevant. Boss is not typically a super important card in this matchup, but it could matter for some Iron Hand stuff. Yeah, I did confirm. Christian only plays one boss, so that might be relevant, but we'll see. I don't recall it being relevant at all. But so yeah, prize card's pretty standard, and we set up for the game, and we start. So I won the coin flip. I go first. Kind of trusting I have the more consistent deck. Victory team, thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to play this Nest Ball first. I actually want to get a better look at my opening hand. I noticed, this is not my first time looking for these games. I noticed I've been doing a really bad job of showing my hand to the camera, which might complicate me looking at this game. Oh, Zelius. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, I have the Colors, I have the Nest Ball, I have a Cram. I believe that's double switch card. So this hand is very, very, very solid. Just off the bat. This hand is really, really nice. So I believe I'm going to sequence this to, Nest Ball for Comfy, and then play the Chorus. Because I typically want to play the Chorus before the Comfies, right? It's just proper sequencing. But since I already have the Cram, I am fine with just getting the Comfy out of the deck now. Kind of just get that out of the way. Also, I really want to, if possible, I always want to have a deck search before I play Colress, because I want to know what's in my deck before I make any like bad decisions off of Colress or Flower Selecting or anything like that. So just having just like the deck information to know that, hey, I can get rid of a Fire Energy, or I can get rid of a switching card, right? Anything, like it can be whatever. Even just something like I can get rid of a Clara is really important. So I always try to use an S-Ball, Artisan, whatever, Battle of the AP Pass typically before Colress. Not just the thinning is good, but typically there are enough cards you want to see off of the Colress. Like your basics are good to see because you want more of them. So the thinning is a negative, but you just really want the prize check, right? But regardless, I'm going to Nest Ball for the Comfy. I'm going to get my information. I'm going to selecting first. That's right. I am going first. I obviously am not playing this Chorus. But I do get rid of a Chorus here. I think the second card is Battle VIP Pass, if I'm not entirely mistaken. Yep. Yeah, so getting rid of a Chorus this early is really bad, especially considering I prized one. But I'm playing this safe. I'm getting Manaphy Jirachi. Obviously, hindsight of 2020. I don't need Manaphy Jirachi in this matchup. I did not know that at the time. There's just a Greninja staring me down. I'm going to play this safe. But I have the switches. I have plenty of ways to just up my Lost Zone count really early. I want to have access to Mirage Gate if possible for my Charizard play, and the Fire Energy can be really, really annoying to find out of the deck. But I'm just gonna get this the Psychic Energy, have a pivot for next turn. I believe I got the Fog Crystal off of the Comfy, because if I didn't, then I should have Fog Crystaled first, grabbed Psychic to retreat. But I believe that is... Was that Fog Crystal Energy? Yeah, it's Fog Crystal Comfy. Yeah, okay. So this was correct. Normal, standard, just really solid opening hand on my end. Now looking at Christian's hand is actually... It's actually really bad, I think. It's like Rod Switch Cart. Let's go back here. Raw Energy Switch Cart. Gift Energy. Yeah, not a whole lot going on in Hodas's hand. So, also for the record, I'm gonna be referring to myself as me, and I'm gonna refer to Christian Hodas as Christian, because that's easier. But I might occasionally, yeah, call him Hodas and whatnot. I don't really know. We're talking about something with the judges. Oh, I broke a sleeve. That's right. I forgot I did that. Yeah, I broke a sleeve. The judges have to go like nab one out of my backpack. We're just gonna spring over that. Yep. So not flower selecting. Concealed cards. Okay, so Christian got, I believe. Let's see what he got again here. Switch card. Is that a nest ball? No, it's a Mirage Gate. So we had the nest ball in hand before. So is the nest ball grab here better than? Or playing the nest ball first before you Greninja, is that better or worse than playing the nest ball first? I think I would have played the nest ball first, but I'm not entirely confident. I don't think it matters that much. It's just kind of like some very minor sequencing, because you always want to grab a Comfy here. You always want Comfy off of this. So I mean, I guess he wants to see more basics. This is true, but he also really wants to see Chorus, right? Yeah, I think... is it, though? Because he wants to see Chorus. Like, obviously he wants to see Comfy, but he also really wants to see Chorus. So I'm not entirely opposed to playing Nest Ball first. But, again, it doesn't matter. He's going to grab a Raikou, though, which is really interesting. But he's going to get the... what's it called? He's going to get the Battle VIP Pass here. Okay, so... So, yeah, then playing the Nest Ball second is objectively better here. Because he wants to see Comfys, and then he has the Town Store for Steel Stone. If he needs to. So, yeah. He wants to Comfy. I forgot he had the Town Store. So we have an out to Colress. But, yeah. So, yeah, he's going to grab the Colress off the Forest Steel Stone, which feels really, really bad. Also, having Raikou in play is just not great in this matchup. It's a really, really easy target for me. If I ever go behind, it's just a free custom counter catcher. So, yeah, we're going to see the Colress here, and that should give him access to a couple of Comfys. Nope, it's actually nothing. Okay. Wow, I do not remember Hodas drawing this poorly in Game 1. Like, obviously he drew terribly in Game 2, but I did not remember being this bad in Game 1. I think those Lost Stones are probably correct. I think the one rod is typically fine here. Getting rid of, you have the second rod in hand. Yeah, but he has to bench a two-prizer, Philip. He has to bench a two-prizer to use Force System for Chorus. So it's that or Moltres. And between Raikou and Moltres, the Raikou has a lot more value. It's still not optimal, but, I mean, he has to do it, right? So yeah, he's going to fleet-foot it into a Nest Ball, I believe, was the hit, which is really, really, really nice. But I don't think he's going to play it. Yeah, he's going to hold it for next turn. So yeah, for me, this turn, all I really want to do is I want to spit. I get as much in the Lost Zone as possible to set up for Radiant Charizard, and just spit, right? Yeah, Moltres does self-damage too. It's more so fleet-footed. Raikou is not only a more efficient attacker, but it also can draw cards, right? Which we just saw him grab. We just saw Christian grab a Nest Ball off of fleet-footed, so it clearly did something pretty okay. But I'm gonna Colress here first. Get rid of Spiritomb and a Battle VIP Pass, so it's pretty easy. Like, having Spiritomb in play when he has a Raikou in front of me would be pretty nice, but Spiritomb, Jirachi, and Manaphy all on the board is a bit overkill. It's just too much, right? And there's no reason I need all of that either, just to block one card. So this is, I believe it's Psychic Energy and Beach Court. So I'm going to get rid of the Beach Court. I think Beach Court here is correct. I'm not really in that big of a hurry to get cards in my Lost Zone, since I should be able to guarantee 7 for next turn, which is the only thing that really matters. So I get to preserve the Psychic, but I also don't want to give him Beach Court. I don't need Beach Court yet because I have manual attachments that I don't really need for anything else besides retreating. So I don't need Beach Court yet, and I can avoid Christian Odas getting the Beach Court access, especially because his start so far has seemed very mediocre. So yeah. But besides that, my hand is just kind of... Okay, so this one gets awkward. I really don't want to get rid of a Mirage Gate here. But this is my last Colress in deck because my 4th Colress is prized and I've already lost on to Colress. So I'm fairly certain I just have to get rid of the Gate here. Yep, that's what I do. And hope it doesn't too relevant, because if Horas is able to respond with Iron Hands this turn, which is very, very unlikely considering his setup, but if he if he can, I now have no reliable out to Fire Energy for my Charizard. I can Raihan, but if I don't have Fire, it doesn't matter, right? And the Gate is kind of your out to the Fire Energy. So, like, if you play Raihan, you attach a Psychic, you have the you get Gate out of the deck, and you go Psychic, Fire, right? That's kind of how you do it if you don't have the Fire in the discard already. If you have the Fire in the discard, you obviously just grab DTE, and you're chilling. But yeah, so what are we going to do here? I have a lot of switch cards. I have a Raihan for next turn. I think there's a Nest Ball somewhere in that hand, but not anything that like super matters. We're just going to spit here. This spit is going to be really, really nice, just so I can... just so I can like get a Sableye off of that later in the game. Or another spit, it's fine. I'm still trading 2 for 2 and I'm getting diverse hit, so it's good. I'm just going to double check Super Effective Glasses here. That card does nothing in this matchup, but I just want to be entirely sure. What else here? We're going to see the Colress from Horas again, and it's another really mediocre grab here. Yeah. This is really not good for Horas. There's not a lot of great options here. He has to keep the Iron Hands. It's just going to be, I guess, Gate Switch Cart is the consideration here. You have to get rid of Gate, because I think you already have a Gate from an earlier draw. Yeah. I'm going to Fleet-Footed into Roaring Moon, which is a completely useless hit. And then concealed cards, I believe there's a Nest Ball. Yep, Nest Ball off the concealed cards. So that should be a Cramorant here, if I'm not entirely mistaken. It's going to be a Comfey. Okay, so Christian just wants to make sure he can get the Iron Hands next turn. I guess that's pretty safe. It's probably the correct play. I think if you're not spitting here, you're falling a little too far behind, even with the Iron Hands. If you're Christian Horas, especially because Christian knows he doesn't play... He doesn't play Hand Disruption. I, of course, don't know he does not play Hand Disruption, but Horas himself, of course, does know that, that he's not playing Hand Disruption. So he's going to get rid of a Comfey, and he's going to keep a Counter Catcher. I actually don't entirely disagree with this. Like, obviously, his hand is just full of jank, and he needs Comfeys, but having the Catcher, I think, is going to be really important, because Christian is already in a position where he needs to make a comeback play if he wants to win this game. And Catcher is kind of like the beginning of that. Having more ways to decide what he wants to amp with his Iron Hands can be really, really important. Something like getting like a lone Comfey off the board, or what have you, right? But this hand is just really, really, really mediocre. He has a Colress for next turn, which will get him to 7, which means he can amp. I believe he has double Mirage Gate in hand already, but it's still not great. There is the Nest Ball here, so we're going to get the Cram, I believe. I'd be very surprised if we're not getting the Cram. Yeah, we're getting the Cram. And we're going to spit, right? So Christian gets to lead the prize trade, at least for a little bit, until I decide to Sableye this Raikou. Another point I want to make here is that because I know that he's playing Iron Hands, I'm also assuming he is at the bare minimum not playing Jirachi. The reason I can make this assumption is because I know he's playing like a Counterbox deck, and the Iron Hands is already his counter for Lost Box, right? That's his Lost Box counter. He doesn't need to be playing Jirachi and Manaphy. because absolutely worst case, he's still trading 2 for 2. So they don't make sense for him to play. I'm not expecting him to play the Jirachi. Now, of course, if I can, if I can Sableye next turn, I do Sableye as fast as possible, just to be safe, right? Just to be a little bit cautious. But yeah, I always have to play again around disruption. Yes, but I even like already at this point in the game, I've seen so much weird shit in his deck that I can kind of start to filter out what cards he has to cut to make space for this. Manaphy Jirachi are already out the window. I'm already assuming he's not playing those. I would definitely think he's not playing Hand Disruption before thinking he's playing Water Energies and Sableye, right? Because remember, at this point, I still think Horas is playing Sableye and Water Energies, right? I still think he's playing that because he's playing a Lost Box deck. He has shown me Radiant Greninja. He's shown me Mirage Gate build, right? I just came off a top 8 game where I was playing against Zard EX Lost Box, which played both the Sableye and the Water Energies for Greninja, right? So I'm more likely to think that Christian is playing Water Energies and Sableye than he's playing Hand Disruption, right? So assuming he's playing those cards, Hand Disruption has always been filtered out of my brain. Of course, if I have the option to play around Hand Disruption, of course I'm going to play around Hand Disruption, but I'm not going to sabotage my own game plan just to play around Hand Disruption. You will see me make a turn where I like thin my entire hand, but like before going to 3, I'm going to thin my entire hand. I'm going to play Pal Pad and all that stuff. But back to the current turn, we are just going to see a switch card into the Cram and a Spit from Horas. And yeah. Iron Head's attach here is also really good. It means you only need 1 Mirage Gate next turn, even though he has 2 because to hold 1. So I'm gonna play the Town Store. I'm just gonna thin out a TM. This is where I remember that I prized second TM. I of course didn't prize check my TMs in this matchup because why would I? But I do get a free deck search. And what now? So I think this is just a chorus here, always. But I'm gonna play the Nest Ball first. This is probably okay for Sableye. Okay. Why did I do Sableye? I have 10. No, I have 6. Okay, yeah. So I can get to 10 here pretty easily. That's what I'm counting there. I have the 2 switch cards. I have the Psychic Energy. I have the chorus. I'm pretty much already at 10. Okay, cool. And if I hit a vacuum, then I can get there even easier. But let's see what we hit here. There's a vacuum and a switch card and a card. That's super, super good. I don't need to poke here. Yeah, we're at 10. We're at 10 for free here. So we're going to Flower Selecting there. And then I believe I play the Artisan. I play switch card. I play as Escape Rope first. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe, did I need to do that? Did I need to play the switch card there? I'm not entirely sure I need to play the switch card there. I think what I should have done instead was probably just leave Cram inactive. I'd rather leave Cram inactive because he's going to want to retreat it anyway to use Amp. So I could have just used the vacuum. But I think at this point, I'm also playing around a potential Bravery Charm. Because I've seen Town Store, and I've only seen the glasses, right? So I think assuming a 1 of Bravery Charm might actually be more reasonable than assuming like a Roxanne or an Iono. So yeah, I think what I'm doing here is I'm playing around Bravery Charm by holding my vacuum, which I guess means I have to, by proxy, then use Escape Rope. So I don't know. That's the weird intricacies that go into like a Lost Box mirror match like this, where yes, it's a mirror, but also Christian is just playing a deck that I have not enough information on, so I have to play with a lot of assumed knowledge, which makes it really hard. I make a lot of correct predictions on Christian's deck based on what I see in the early game, but not all of them are correct. Namely, the lack of Water Energy, lack of Sableye, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get my own Sableye here. And I believe I'm just going to use a switch card. Yep, somewhere here. There we go. And I'm going to say, well, I'm just going to kill the Raikou. Yeah, get the Raikou off the board before a potential Jirachi that I don't think he's playing, but, you know, never know. Yeah, before Jirachi, before he, like, switch cards it again. Just get it off the board, take my 2 prize cards, and take the prize lead. So for Horas, it's amp or bust at this point in the game. He has to amp. I need to whiff response. He amps again, and then he wins the game. Right? That's Christian's win con here. So he's gonna chorus. He's gonna put him at 7. Town Store Comfy at this point in the game really isn't necessary. He doesn't need either of the cards. He doesn't play Sableye. He doesn't need to hit 10. So the Comfy with 1 in play is kind of fine. Here's the Mirage Gate. And he's going to contemplate. He's going to grab the Grass Dark instead, keep the Lightning in deck. I guess that's probably a pretty good play. I don't think it matters too much, but, everything matters, I guess. So here's the... So yeah, Zinnia, Battle of the Past, it's fine. You get to keep a Zinnia for Roxanne stuff. And there's a switch card. And an attachment. Okay, so he's going to amp. And I think here Christian realizes he's about to go down to 3. And he's going to start thinning some cards here. So we're going to attach the glasses. And I don't think there's a whole lot else he wants to thin. So he's just going to amp. Go to 3. And now this is my big swing turn. This is the turn I want to swing on. But I don't believe I have out to Roxanne here. I think I have to go Raihan, attach Psychic to Zard, find Fire Energy off of the Raihan. To then knock out the Iron Hands like that. But it actually puts me in a really, really awkward position where theoretically if Christian does rebench the Iron Hands, I win the next turn. But Christian doesn't have to rebench the Iron Hands. So yeah. No, the decks are not... So, the decks are, like, somewhat known, right? You can check through Pokestats on day 2 of the tournament, you can check what your opponent's playing for Pokestats, but I don't have his deck list, right? I know he's playing Lost Box, right? But Lost Box is so broad that it could be anything. And especially when he's playing a very new and unknown Lost Box deck, I lack a lot of knowledge to make plays like based off of what he plays, right? I have to make a lot of assumptions, to have a real chance here. But regardless, I'm gonna play a rope. I'm just gonna capture the hands back. I think for a small second, I'm considering not doing it, but I of course realized, hey, that anything else would be stupid. So at this point, I think I'm about to thin here. I'm about to go down to 2 prize cards, but past 3. So if he does play hand disruption, he's probably gonna be playing the Roxanne. So I'm just gonna probably burn some stuff. The fact that he didn't grab Bravery Charm off of the town store last turn is now my tell that he does not play Bravery Charm, right? I can now confirm that card isn't in the deck. If it is, he plays 1 and it's prized, right? But regardless, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I am going to just play Artisan. I don't think I grab anything. Yeah. I'm not going to grab anything. I'm just going to bump it anyway. This was probably a minor misplay on my end. This is probably not correct, using the Artisan. But, again, the thing about, Lost Box decks is that every player, regardless of skill level, is going to make mistakes in some way, shape, or form every single turn of the game. It's just about making the mistakes that you don't get punished for in the late game, right? That's what matters here. So while Artisan, going out of play here is, wasted, right? Effectively a wasted resource on my end. It shouldn't matter in the long term. But of course I have to take note of it. It's a misplay. It's something I, as a player, can do better, regardless. So I'm gonna play the Pal Pad. I think I'm just gonna get Raihan Chloris. Yep. So I have that for next turn. Assuming he does hand disrupt. And we're just going to Combustion Blast. Yep. Nest Ball, Technical Machine are pretty meh prize cards. Not bad. They're not atrocious. Having the Nest Ball is nice. The TM doesn't do anything. So, all right. So what's Christian Notice doing here? He obviously wants to Iron Hands back. He needs Iron Hands back. He needs to close the game with it. He's gonna rod that back in 2 energies, which seems fair. Seems okay. And what else here? So we're gonna play the Heavy Ball. Just kind of make sure he knows what's in the prize cards. I don't believe it's anything special. Yeah, vacuum, VIP pass, rope, nothing, extraordinary. What now? Yeah, Christian's just gonna do the same thing I did. Deck thin, or hand thin, I should say. Get some useless cards out of the hand. Bossing the Comfy is actually let's talk about this play. So I think Christian didn't have a knockout if he didn't play the boss here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at his hand one more time. Yeah, he could have used Roaring Wind, but obviously that's a throw. So he actually has to play the boss here to take a knockout, which is really, really interesting, and it should have been a tell on my end. I think, from my perspective, what I was thinking at the time was that he wanted to eliminate my draw, and not, didn't care that much about the Charizard because he's not benching a 2-prizer, which means Charizard is just, the same as, any other Cram or Sableye at this point in the game. But yeah, we're gonna see promote the Comfy. Promote the Comfy. All right, so here's the Roxanne turn. I need this to be a Roxanne turn because I'm obviously assuming Christian, having just used the boss, having just shuffled in an Iron Hands, he should realistically be able to establish an Iron Hands and play an Escape Rope next turn. But I am gonna take a look at my deck with this Ball. We're gonna whiff it, and I guess this should have been a Rod first, but I don't really need the extra Pokemon that much. So I think this is fine. I think this is okay. Just to get the deck knowledge, just to make sure. I really want to see the Roxanne, but I cannot, guarantee the Roxanne by any means. So, yeah, we're just going to be a Hail Mary Comfy here, and it's going to be Battle VP Pass Roxanne. I remember if you look at the camera, I'm just like, okay, that's good. I'm being very lucky here. This is absolutely the best case scenario as far as flower selecting is concerned. So I'm gonna get a Cram. I have a Cram in my hand. So yeah, okay, I had a Cram in my hand, which means I really didn't need the Nest Ball that much. But maybe I should have held the Nest Ball so that if I whiff the Comfy, I go Rod, Nest Ball, get Comfy, selecting again. But I don't remember how many switching cards I have in hand. So we'll see. I'm gonna attach, and play the Roxanne. Okay, yeah. So this puts me in a near unbeatable board state, but I am going to make one blunder this turn that theoretically could have cost me this game. But we'll get to that in just a second here when we get to the end of my turn and I make a really, really dumb decision, which I shouldn't have made because I have knowledge of what resources Christian has and hasn't used yet. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to promote the Zard, and I'm going to attack with Zard. Okay, now let's talk about why this is incorrect. This is really, really important. I want you guys to pay attention. Okay? Promoting Zard, in theory, is always, always, always correct. The reason it is always correct is because Iron Hands cannot kill the Charizard. Right? Iron Hands cannot amp the Charizard. Therefore, if Christian from a 2-card hand is able to establish his Iron Hands, he needs to have Escape Rope to win the game, right? He needs not only an established Iron Hands, but he also needs Escape Rope. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because after I make this play, and Christian starts playing his turn, I check Christian's Lost Zone and discard pile, and I realize he's down all 4 switch cards. I could, of course, have checked this at any point during my turn, at any point on his turn, last turn, really, to realize for Christian to establish an Iron Hands, he has to, and I mean has to, no exceptions, no bullshit, he has to play an Escape Rope regardless, because he has no other switch outs. Which means that if I attacked with Cram, Christian would have needed 2 Escape Ropes. And he's already down 1, and as we know, he prized 1. And I believe if I take a look at Christian's deck lists, right here, yep, Christian only played 3 Escape Ropes. Which means if I had attacked with Cramorant this turn, instead of the Charizard, I would have had Checkmate on board regardless of any play Christian ever makes. There is literally 0 win conditions for Christian if I attack with Cramorant here. Now, obviously, I don't know he's only playing 3. I don't know he priced 1, right? But I should have realized that attacking with Cram is always correct because he cannot amp the active without having rope, or he can't retreat without rope, which means I always need I always need to attack with Cram right here. So that was that. Back to the game. I of course don't get punished, right? Christian has a 3-card hand now. He actually draws pretty well off of this Roxanne, all things considered, but he needs such specific cards at this point that it's just not even worth considering. He's going to grab the Iron Hands, and he's going to play a Colress. This is just 2 useless Pokemon he doesn't need, which he's going to get rid of, I believe. Yeah, VIP Pass, Roaring Mood, Concealed cards. He hits Gate. He has the rope. He has the gate. He has an energy. Theoretically speaking, he has it if he does hit a gate off of this last Comfey. The problem we're going to see here, of course, is that there are 2 Darks as his only energies left in the deck. Which means Christian here needs to hit both Rod and Super Rod off of selecting. He cannot grab more than 1 card, and he's going to scoop. He's going to realize this. He's going to scoop. We're going to go to game 2, right? Now, I'm going to fuck around in front of the camera, as I typically could have. Couldn't he have double... yeah, so theoretically, yes. But at this point, it is a lot less likely than the rope play, right? Because I'm assuming he has 3 ropes left, whereas the contrary to that is that he has to have 4 energies in deck, find 4 energies off of Mirage Gate, off of the 2 Mirage Gate he has left, right? He has 1 discard, 1 Lost Zone, and an attachment from turn. When he realistically, to even see that amount of cards, is going to have to use Greninja anyway. So he'd have to have Rod, Gate, Energy, and like Energy again, and Colress. It's a lot less likely than yes, there is a chance, which means my claim that it was an unwinnable board state is technically not true. But but yeah, there is a chance. There is theoretically a chance he could get it, but I'm actually not even sure it's possible with the amount of cards he would have seen. But that's besides the point. Regardless, I should have attacked with the Cram and it will give me much better odds. Because then if we like go to Christian's hand here again, I think they show it right before he plays the gates. When he draws here. Let me see the hand again. Yeah, so say that Minior in his hand was a Rod, right? And then he hits. Well, no, he had the energy still, didn't he? I don't know. Regardless, Roxanne, he doesn't hit anything off Roxanne, doesn't matter, right? Cool. There's just so many micro decisions in these decks that it's... I'm pretty sure I'd have to pull out a calculator to figure out what is correct here. And obviously we're not allowed to pull out a calculator at the table, and I'm not that good at math in my head, I'll be honest. I can do Spit for 110 into Sableye for 120. Oh, that kills an Iron Hand. Okay, cool. That's the extent of the math I know. Oh, and Spit plus Stard kill everything in game. That's some pretty convincing math too, I know. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna shuffle up for game 2 here, and Christian is gonna draw horrendously bad. Here we go. Yeah, Tropius. All right, so what are we working with here with Christian? Actually, let's take a look at the prize cards because I do remember these being pretty bad. Some of them were upside down for Christian, but yeah. Greninja, double Comfey, double energy, and the Rod. My prize cards aren't great. Double Gears sucks, but Hodas's prizes they're horrendous. They're terrible. They're super, super bad. It's going to be really hard for him to establish a board, and his opening hand is not much better. I'm going to blow my nose here because I'm still very sick. I've been sick since Gdansk. So if you guys will excuse me for a second. Yeah, no. I'll probably be sick in San Antonio too, for all I know. But, okay. Hodas has put in play a Nest Ball. He's going to realize half his deck is upside down, try to fix that, which, honestly, fair. Here we go. Nest Ball is gonna grab a Comfey here. I'm sure Christian would rather have the Greninja, but at this point, the Greninja's not there, so he has to grab the Comfey. He has to open this Comfey, gets him some Miracle card, probably Battle VIP Pass is pretty good, but let's yeah. Oh I have like 2 layovers on my way to Texas. It's gonna be hellish, but whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna see Lightning Energy and what else for Hodas here. I believe that's a Rod, which is really, really bad. Yeah. No, it's Catcher. Okay. He can get rid of Catcher. I think he's fine to get rid of Catcher, but nothing else. I'm obviously very, very happy to see that, and my hand is very good. Yep, double Fog Crystal, and the Battle VIP Pass. So I'm just gonna try to have but I'm not gonna rebook my fucking ticket 2 days before my flight, Philip, just to avoid some layovers. Remember, broke is not a state of being; it's a mindset. Okay, I am still very much broke. Never forget. All right, so I'm gonna grab Manaphy Cramorant here because theoretically he can still turn 1 Greninja me. Obviously, we know now he can't. At this point in the game, having seen as much of Hodas' deck as I did in Game 1, I should be able to make the conclusion that he at the bare minimum does not play Water Energies. But I'm gonna play this safe, knowing I have double Fog Crystal in my hand, right? I have double Fog Crystal in hand. There is no reason for me to be like grabbing Comfeys here when I just have 2 Comfeys in my hand effectively, right? All right, so gonna grab Comfey. Gonna grab the second Comfey prematurely. I'm not entirely sure this is correct. If I'm being honest, I don't think the second Comfey is correct on my end. I should probably have just played the VIP pass, then held the Fog Crystal, because I only want to play one of them, right? I play the first one as a deck search to see if I have anything important prized. The second one I don't, because I want to keep it in case I hit the cards I want to hit off of the ball search, right? So the Battle VIP Pass or the Fog Crystal, I can play one of the two. Actually, no, VIP Pass was correct. VIP Pass was correct because in case I only have 1 Cramorant, I can grab the 1 Cramorant and I won't be in a position where I need to lost on a Cramorant off of this Colress. So Battle VP Pass is correct. The Fog Crystal was not. I should have held that. Whatever. We're all going to continue on. I do actually believe I hit the Cramorant off of the Colress. Yep. So I do actually... I guess I get rewarded for playing the Battle VP Pass. I'm going to get rid of the Artisan and Nespal. I don't want the Artisan. I don't want more good cards for Hodas. Okay, interesting. I'm going to get rid of the Cram. I actually kind of like this, getting rid of the Cram here. And the reason for that is that it's probably just unnecessary at this point in the game. I think I'm a little too, like, tunnel visioned at this point, because obviously I'm on stage, I'm up a game in top 4. I'm not going to pretend that my mindset was perfect when I was playing this. What you have to realize, especially for these high-stake games, is that looking at it from an outsider looking in, looking like at the board from above, you're always going to think of better plays than the players who are sitting at the table. It's a lot easier to come to those conclusions. Well, obviously everyone in the audience can see, hey, Christian doesn't play Water Energies. I'm so tunnel visioned on the what if that I'm just playing around it, right? I think the Manaphy grab is fine here. But honestly, I think the only thing I really should have been playing around was the Sableye. I think it's very reasonable still to assume that Christian plays Sableye from my perspective, but I can't make the assumption that he's playing Water Energies, right? Well, at least I shouldn't. I do, but I shouldn't, right? But regardless, we keep going. The other thing is that bench space matters very little for Sablezard. So having Manaphy and Jirachi on your bench is never really a problem, right? The only time it ever becomes a problem is if I'm grabbing Manaphy over a card I need instead. But as you can see by my board state, the only thing I need on turn 1 is 2 Comfeys and a Cram, which I have. I have that locked in my hand because of VIP Fog Crystal. So I kind of just have a free card I can grab. There's no reason that shouldn't be the Manaphy, right? Or the Jirachi, but obviously the Manaphy is more likely to come up earlier in the game. When the audience reacts to a certain drop from players, so there's white noise in the headphones, and they are noise-canceling headphones. But if the audience gets really, really, really loud, you can hear them. We're gonna talk about this more when we get to the finals game, because there's a bit of a situation in game 2 that I want to address. But for now, all I will say is Pokemon should really, really, really invest in some headphones that are a lot more noise canceling, because like obviously if someone in the audience yells, "Hey, do this," or "Hey, he has that," I'm not going to hear it, right? I can't hear that. But if everyone starts screaming at the same time, like both players, the table judges, everyone can hear it. Everyone can hear it. It's the same thing. I believe the last time it was like a really big deal that happened was at EYC last season when Tord prized the Memory Skip Curlia, not Memory Skip Curlia, Memory Skip Ralts in Game 3 against the Alolan Vulpix. When the audience just completely gave it away to Alex, that was what happened. But yeah, no. I do want to talk about that more later, but we're gonna focus on this for now. So what's this flower selecting? Let's talk about this flower selecting. Battle VIP Pass and Beach Court. Okay. I don't want to give him Beach Court. We talked about this in game 1. So I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to play the Battle VIP Pass. So I think this is fine. Now, I'm contemplating getting the Charizard here, because it gives me an instant response to Iron Hands if he plays it. But I'm looking at his last one, I'm looking at his turn 1, and I'm realizing, wow, he didn't do shit, right? I'm about to knock out his only Comfey in play. He's going to have Lone Tropius. So I want to get the Jirachi here and play it safe. I'm going to grab a Sableye because I'm in a pretty good position to potentially have a turn 2 Sableye turn. But even if I don't, this is still very, very, very okay. But yeah, there's a chance I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of the Cram. I already forgot what was left besides Cram, but probably not something super important. I think giving the second Cram is fine because it's very, very, very possible that Christian does have, say, a Cram next turn, right? I should be expecting a spin instantly. Which obviously I should be able to respond with my Sableye, but it's not always that I am going to draw perfectly. But we're going to have the Attach Retreat and another Selecting, get rid of Comfey, that's completely okay. I have another Switch card, yep, and we're going to spin. I have the Gate in my hand, yeah, okay, yeah, so I'm turboing to 7 here. I want to hit 7 because I have the Gate, which means if the Iron Hands come down, I have the Zard Gate just immediately off the bat. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to, yeah, Cram. And Christian's going to top deck another completely useless card. And he's going to Sinia. So obviously, I don't know Christian plays Sinia, right? I didn't see it in game 1. Which means that I, of course, have no reason to play around it. Hence, full bench, right? I don't know that I would have played around it regardless if I had known. I don't think it's anything that I should be playing around. Obviously, if he's playing a Zinnia instead of a Chorus this turn, I'm winning regardless. It's an absolute win for me, even if he's drawing 6 cards. But yeah. But even then, he's going to draw 6, and they're going to be completely dead, all of them. This hand is absolutely atrocious. He does have Raihan attach, which means next turn he can Arm Press if he wants to. But it's still not great. It's still by no means great. He's just a pass. You can even see on the camera that I'm in shock. Like I have to confirm that he really just said pass without he did nothing, right? He really did nothing on his turn. So at this point, I'm gaming, I'm chilling, I have Colress. I'm just going to keep pressing my lead here, right? Of course, trying not to overcommit to anything. Raihan Palpad might be a bit too greedy of me, of a Lost Zone. But at this point, I am kind of already under the assumption there's no hand disruption. I've seen enough of his deck that, again, we have to realize that I still think he's playing a Sableye, right? Which means I think he's playing like that. That's the slot I think he's playing instead of a hand disruption. Now again, we find out after the tournament he's not playing hand disruption, right? But at this point in our series, I can fairly confidently say Christian Horas does not play hand disruption. Even if he does, I don't need Palpad that bad. I really don't. Raihan, maybe. Palpad, probably not, right? But yeah, I don't know what else. Let's check what else I could have gotten rid of here. Chorus Fire and Rod. I guess I could have gotten rid of a Rod. I think getting rid of a Rod is fine, probably instead of the Palpad. Getting rid of full Palpad and Rod is too much, but yeah, I don't think this is like too big of a deal. All things considered, that's the one thing about Sablezard, because you'll notice throughout the stream, pretty much every time I play a Chorus, every time I play Comfy, I'm going to critique myself. I'm going to say, hey, maybe this was better, hey, maybe that was better, right? But at the end of the day, it's never going to matter. And that remains true for most of my Swiss games as well. There were a couple times where I had some flower selectings very early in the game that bit me in the ass, and I lost a game in a set. But for the most part, most of your flower selectings, specifically with Sablezard, very rarely matter that much. And that's why I say Sablezard is by far the easiest Comfy deck to play. Because your decisions, they matter. Of course they matter, right? And the deck is still harder than most big basic Smack decks, but I mean, this doesn't matter, right? Most of my Lost Zones don't matter, unless they're like really, 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 really bad. Like, I prize the Fire Energy, I have a dead hand, I see Fire Energy Chorus, right? Those are the types of hands where you have to have a lot of games of experience to know what is correct. But with stuff like this, it matters. It just, yeah, like that. Yeah, what Skylon's saying, right? It can punish you, but you just like I get rid of Palpad Raihan here. I'm never gonna need him for the rest of the game. I never play either of those cards. I never want either of those cards in the rest of this series. Which obviously you can't have that mindset when playing the deck. You should play every flower selecting, assuming if you fuck up, you lose the game, right? You have to think like that. But regardless, it doesn't change the fact that comparatively to other Lost Zone decks, the decisions I'm making, correct or not, they just don't matter half the time, right? Especially with a lot of matchup specific decks. You play the Battle of PPS, you have a lot of free discards or Lost Zones in the first place. But enough about that. Back to the game. I'm going on a lot of tangents, but I just want you guys to like kind of like get a really good idea of like my thought process throughout all of this. But I'm not going to do a whole lot here. I think I'm just going to spit because I don't need to burn my switch cards. I'm going to attach an energy. I'm going to spit. Yeah. So attaching this fire is going to set up really, really, really nicely for a Raihan play. I believe I have a Raihan in hand, if I'm not entirely mistaken. So yeah. Christian, low in Iron Hands, 1 in Lost Zone. There's really no way I assume he's doing anything at this point. He's going to play Raihan. Again, that's not a Chorus. And I believe he's eyeing up the Chorus from the Raihan. This is probably also... No, this is not his first tech search. He did play Nestball for Comfy on turn 1. But yeah, he's going to grab the Chorus off of the Raihan. And I believe it's just going to be attaching the Gift Energy and passing. So yeah, again, for me, I don't need to do anything here. I Chorus, I get rid of some cards I don't need. Heavy Ball Battle via P-Pass is the freest Lost Zone of my, freest Lost Zone in the game. I'm kind of just reevaluating here if I prize anything, but I prize check my attackers at the beginning of every game. That's why I always want to do a deck search before I do a Chorus or flower selecting, to make sure I'm not getting rid of something really stupid. So yeah, the Heavy Ball is completely fine. Lost Zone, the Battle VP Pass, of course, obviously I don't need. Yeah, nothing really to critique there. Going for the Chorus is strange. Yeah, so let's talk about this. Why did Christian not arm press? I think arm pressing as Christian here is I think what Christian's afraid of is that I have the Zard, right? If I go bench Zard, retreat Comfy, what's it called? Play Raihan, get fire, attach DTE, gate for last energy. I win on the spot if he attacks me with arm press. Um, but I think Sky, you are right because doing that as Hodas here is playing not to lose. Like with not attacking, you're not playing to win. You're playing not to lose. If Christian played comeback cards, something like a Roxanne, then I think this play is absolutely correct because you need to buy a turn, right? Because you know I'm bench locked, I can't Zard, whatever. Um, then I think this play, what he's doing here, is completely okay. But because he doesn't play comeback, he needs to take prize cards eventually, and he needs to be ready for him to respond. Because when he amps, when he does something, uh, he's assuming I have the response, like regardless. Um, so if I take two, he takes two, I'm still gonna win, right? I still win on board. So yeah, I think he should have arm pressed. I think like obviously that would have lost in the game. I can already remember in my hand I would have had. Yeah. Uh, did you not know he played Sable? No. I assume he's playing Sableye Psychic. I'm at this point I can deduce he's not playing Water Energies, but I'm still assuming he's playing Sableye Psychic because it's such an easy package for every Lost Sun engine to play. There's no reason for me at this point in the game to assume he's not playing a Sableye. If anything, I think he like prized it in game one, right? Um, like I can still it could be something as small as one Sableye, one Psychic Energy, but I still have to play around that, right? So yeah. Um, regardless, he doesn't attack me. I'm not gonna do anything here. I think I'm gonna like play a vacuum to make sure I get the 10. But that's it. And then I'm just a spit because I don't want to burn my switch cards. No, I'm gonna rope. Okay, I'm gonna play the rope. I'm gonna get the fire in the discard. That's probably better here. I don't need the Clara. That's fine. Getting rid of Clara, Raihan, and Palpad is a bit scary, but I have both rods. I have a very, very dominant board state, so I'm pretty okay with where I am now. Yeah, because again, at this point, I can assume he's not playing hand disruption. Even if I should play around it, I think keeping the switch card is just kind of better. So yeah. We're just going to shoot, we're going to spit. This is going to put us at 9. I should probably have... So here's what I was considering here. I want to go back and I want to look at my hand. I know they got a pretty good close-up here. Yeah, so this works. I have double vacuum, I have TM, I have a lot of stuff. I was considering playing the vacuum to get the 10, but there was nothing I really wanted to get rid of. Because at this point, I'm still being like really paranoid of like a bravery charm, which I just shouldn't be. What I should have done here is should have just attached the de-evolution TM and then vacuumed away the vacuum in my hand, hit 10, still use the comfy. You want to get the fire in the discard, so I can do like Rod Mirage Gate or Raihan or whatever. So the comfy is still absolutely correct, but I should have just locked it up, made sure I had 10. Because then if he does Roxanne me, then all I need is Psychic Energy to like start shitting on his board. But yeah, I'm gonna spit. Christian is gonna play the Chorus he grabbed. His hand is still tragically dead. Yeah, Glasses VIP pass, both very, very useless. No outs to Comfy at all. No outs to a 2-prizer. No, yeah, he has a Minior. He has Minior as his only basic left. And he needs to play a switch card. Okay. So this switch card means that I cannot kill his Iron Hands on board, like if he doesn't do anything here. So Christian's just buying time. Now, had Christian been up a game, he should have scooped several turns ago, right? I just want to acknowledge that real quick. He should have absolutely scooped several turns ago, but this is his tournament life on the line. I don't think it's a bad idea for him to just try to play it out, try to make the impossible possible. I could still have prized Zard and like blundered by getting rid of Heavy Ball. It's not impossible from Christian's perspective. So yeah, we're gonna see. Yeah, there's the Minior pass in the active. Here, I'm just gonna Sableye. By getting to Sableye here, I believe the math pans out so that I have 75. This Iron Hand is gonna have 100 HP left afterwards, which means it dies to both Cram and Sableye. So yeah, just getting to use the Sableye here is 100% correct. It's just really nice, good position to be in. Yeah, switch cart into Comfey. Okay. I don't remember why I did this. Okay, I think I'm gonna finally commit the beach court at this point. Yeah. So this is super okay. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, right. I'm gonna vacuum here. Well, I didn't really need to. I guess I had the TM. What I'm doing here really is just getting rid of cards. Whether or not I should have gotten rid of the beach court, I think is debatable. But I think what I want to do more so than anything is I want to use as many Comfeys as I can, because using Comfeys is going to let me. Yeah. So this is fine. This is actually super okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the beach court instead of a switching card. I'm getting rid of the beach court because I don't want him to play regardless. I don't want Christian to have the benefit of the beach court. Period. End of story. I just don't want him to play. I don't want him to have it. I want him to brick for as long as possible. So the beach court, I'm going to use it once. I'm going to get my free retreat out of it. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't need counter catcher, so this is fine. This is actually super okay. I'm just thinning out cards I don't need. Yeah, and I believe this is just going to be the 7/5. Yeah. I'm going to go to 3 prize cards here. Okay, so once again, Colress is going to find jack shit for Christian. The heavy ball is a really nice grab. The heavy ball is a super nice grab because he can get Greninja or a Comfey. I believe he's going to grab the Greninja, if I'm not mistaken. Just because he needs so many cards here, right? He doesn't just need to see a lot of cards. He needs to keep them in his hand. Because most of his hand is just doo-doo, right? It's just terrible. Yeah. So he's going to Greninja. And he's going to get rid of a card. The Lightning Energy. And, I don't remember him hitting anything particularly special. Oh, right. He gets, he's about to see a switch card, which is actually going to make my math a bit more awkward here. But it's not going to matter. But still. No, he's not going to switch card. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to Clara Sableye here, if I'm not entirely mistaken. Yeah. Which actually means that this could be my last Sableye, theoretically. I still have the Rod. But the Rod is a lot less reliable than the Clara. But yeah, let's see here. Now the thing is, Christian's at 5. So he's realistically going to have to play out Colress to even hit 7 next turn. To do anything, right? So I really can't imagine he's going to hand shot me here. So it's going to be 100. And then 20 on the Greninja. Really standard, nothing super special. Just kind of like using the Sableye to not only take my prize cards, but also get a little extra value just to set up follow-up turns. Of course, now this Greninja will always die to both Cram and to Sableye. So it's a really good position to be in for me. At this point, it's all but checkmate. It's all but over. But regardless, you know, Christian can only play it out. That's all he can do. We're gonna see a Colress. It's once again going to be really bad. I think Dark Energy Boss is probably what we get rid of here. I guess he really wants to keep the Boss because he needs there to be future turns. But I think Rope just always has more value than the Boss. So I kind of disagree with this from Christian. I think you get rid of the Boss instead of the Rope always. This isn't going to matter. I pretty much have game in hand. I have Nest Ball Fire. So regardless of what he hits me with, I will always win. But I think he is actually going to pull off the second Iron Hands here, if I remember correctly. And not only that, but he's going to have Switch Card. which means actually, yeah, so grabbing bosses is fine here from Christian. Because for Christian to win, he has to assume I don't have it, right? Obviously, I have it. He like, statistically, I always have it. But Christian's win condition, and he's playing to his outs here, which is something that he absolutely should be doing. Christian's win condition is to knock me out with Iron Hands. I don't have Zard. He hits me with Iron Hands again. Therefore, if I like don't have a Fire Energy and I promote Zard, he has the boss, right, to win. But that aside, yeah, he's gonna conceal cards. He's gonna see the switch card. Really, really, really important grab. I mean, Sableye isn't game. I mean, again, it doesn't matter, right? But Christian has to play to the outs he has, and he's actually doing a really, really good job of that, right? From a really shitty board to just trying anything to make this winnable. Yeah, so he's gonna play that. He's gonna 9 the last time. He's gonna play a heavy ball. Oh, did not mean to do that. Back to the chorus here. Yeah, he's gonna play the heavy ball. He's not gonna grab anything. Probably means he hit like double Comfy off the amp. Yeah, I believe I see both of them in his hands. So yeah, it's just gonna be attached for Sealstone, so he has it. But again, we know it's over. Zard, Fire, Switch Card, Extend Hand, done. Top 4 over. So yeah, this game was really back and forth, but I think what it shows is like the consistency factor in a Lost Box deck. Because what I really want to do here is I'm gonna go to Limitless real quick, and I want to compare the two lists. And there's gonna be a really clear reason as to why in a second. But first, I'm gonna grab both of them. All right. So here's my list. Here's my list from the tournament. It's on my Twitter. You've all seen it. Very, very basic, very linear, very straightforward. Every card in this deck is, to some extent, a consistency card. Every, yeah, we're about to watch the epic comeback, Philip. Yeah, every card in this deck has a consistency factor to it, with like very few exceptions. Roxanne technically doesn't do anything consistent in the early game. Same with some of our attackers. Same with Countercatcher. But and like TM, but everything here has something about it that's going to draw me cards. 8 switch cards, Raihan and Clara, Pokegears, I believe, let's see here, 9, 10 if you want to count the heavy ball search cards, Beach Court for extra retreat, Artisan for an 11th ball search card, Palpad for Roxanne proofing. Everything here is meant to be consistent, right? In a format where it's very, very volatile, it's very, very explosive. This deck is consistent, it's straightforward, it's linear, it does the same thing pretty much every game in every matchup, and it wins, right? Now let's look at Hodis' deck. Hodis' deck is very, very powerful, has a lot of surprise factor, it has a lot of big swinging attackers, especially with the super effective glasses, right? Matchups like Grab Strike and Teleon, Zard Pidgeot, right? Super effective glasses onto an Iron Hands is a single turn that can win the game like this. Like, it just ends, right? You could be bricking for the, I guess, well, Spiritomb is not a consistency card, but it bricks your opponent, which makes it a consistency card by proxy. Anyway, Iron Hands plus super effective glasses in certain matchups means that you could brick the entire game, and a single play means you still win, right? Which means that Christian inherently just doesn't need as much consistency. He plays a Gift Energy, which is really, really good Roxanne proofing, if he's able to use it. But stuff like the 1 Cram, the no Manaphy, the no Jirachi is going to give him a very, very vulnerable Lost Box matchup if their opponent is able to respond to Iron Hands. The myriad of attackers, the low supporter count, right? The 1 Raihan, the 1 Senia. Still playing the 4 Battle V Pass, the 4 Nest, but that's still only 8. You have Heavy, if you want to be 10. Tower Store plus 4 Steelstone is another way to draw consistent cards. But again, even like stuff like no Clara, of course, there's no reason for him to be playing Clara, but the big takeaway here I want you to notice from looking at Hodis' deck is that every single one of his attackers, except the Cram, need to use Mirage Gate, right? If you don't have a Gate, if you don't have energies in the deck, you're not doing anything with this deck. You're not doing anything. I guess, okay, Minior, but in so many matchups, Minior isn't going to really be that effective, right? In the matchup, it is effective, it'll carry. But, yeah, in this deck, if you don't have Gate, you're not really doing anything of value. And in a Lost Box Mirror, where you have to do something every single turn to keep up, between these decks, and again, not saying Christian's deck is inconsistent, but by comparison, between these two decks, which is more likely to hit turn 2 Cram? Which is more likely to draw out a Roxanne? Right? Even the Gift Energy, your Roxanne proofing card, can be very easily played against by Sableye, right? Obviously, if attached correctly, attached the right turn, that's not possible. Like attaching to Iron Hands with 0 damage on it is an example, right? If you have to Zard him. But looking at these two decks, one of them is very, very, very clearly more likely to spit turn 1. So it's interesting because while I think Horus's deck is a lot more explosive and has a very, very lopsided matchup spread, when it comes to a matchup where you have to hit an attacker every single turn to keep up, because remember, with Zard, we're trading 2 for 2, right? Which means you're still having to keep up every turn. If you have to keep up every single turn, this deck is not reliably going to do it. But Sable Zard is. Meaning the matchup is just inherently just a lot more lopsided. All right, enough about that. That was the comparison. I want to clarify this. I mean no hate to Horus. I think his deck is awesome. I think it's super, super, super cool. I'm very impressed he made it so far with it. And he played our top 4 game really, really well. But regardless, I think as the I guess the 2 most successful Lost Box decks in the tournament, they're kind of on opposite sides of the spectrum as far as Lost Box variants are concerned. So yeah. Anyway, finals game. That's we're not listening to casters. Using my voice instead, my very sickly and coughing voice. I actually probably don't sound that sickly anymore, but yeah. All right. We're gonna have to speed up. We're gonna look at my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful face. I should really stop talking. And we're gonna get into this game. So, for context here, me and Simon played a little bit, or not a little bit. We played in round 10. We hit in round 10, right? We hit in round 10, so I know most of his 60. I know he plays double Iron Hands. I know he plays Beach Court. I know he plays DTE. I know he plays Path. I know he plays Judge, right? I know all this. Why didn't he get a Pokemon shirt? I didn't ask for one, which I should have done. I was just kind of too busy. I was too busy winning. Yeah, I should have asked for a play Pokemon shirt. But they won't give you one if you're just wearing a blank T-shirt, right? They give you one to cover up whatever brand you're already wearing. But when I was backstage between top 4 and finals, I should have asked for one. I just forgot because it was very hectic. But yeah, you can still ask for one, Sky. But they don't have to give it to you, right? They only give it to you if you're having it. You have a brand. Yeah. Anyway, into the game. We're gonna start. Simon did win the coin flip, and his hand is gonna be really, really, really mediocre here. He's gonna make a play on turn 1 that I think is very questionable. And it's a bit greedy, but we'll get there when we get there. He's going to use the Fleet Footed here, because it's kind of all he can do. And he's going to hit a Nest Ball. Now, Simon off of this Nest Ball is going to grab a Squawkabilly, which theoretically isn't terrible, because he kind of doesn't have any attackers here. They do not sell the shirts, Philip, no. Yeah. So, Simon is going to... I have this Miraidon, but then realized he should probably grab Squawk. Now, I disagree with this. The reason I disagree with this is because he has Judge Path in hand, and I don't really think he is in that much of a rush. Getting rid of Judge Path this early is also just a very, very, very I wouldn't say waste of resources necessarily, but it's not great. And also by grabbing the Miraidon, he has guaranteed way to set up his board. He can just grab the Iron Hands and the Mareep, and then next turn he can use Judge Path, and at the absolute worst case, he's gonna get hit with Raikou, and I'm gonna have to reset my hand. Now he's gonna grab the Squawk, and he's not gonna get punished. So, whether or not, yeah. No, I think Scallon with all jerseys they have to discuss it. Uh, and now in this season, you have to like sign a forum, or it's not like a forum. It's more like a contract. Really, you have to sign a contract with Pokemon, or the sponsor, like for the brand you're wearing, has to sign a contract with Pokemon to say that they're allowed to, show the brand and a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of legal shit that I really don't care enough about. But for 88 Card House with the kitchen, we had to like sign a contract. I know other big teams had to do the same. I know Shuffle Squad had to do the same. I know DDG had to do the same. I'm assuming Girl Power has something similar. Um, yeah, yeah, you have the contracts. Yeah, okay, perfect. But yeah, before that, it was very up in the air. It was wearing like a gray zone, especially if you were wearing a jersey that didn't have brands. It was just the logo. Then it's like a gray zone. But when I played for Wolves Esports, Wolves had a bunch of sponsors. The Wolves Esports jersey was just a big no-no on stream because it had a bunch of other sponsors that would then, by me being on stream, would then all be indirectly affiliated with Pokemon, which they wouldn't have consented to. Which it's a whole bunch of bullshit legal stuff that no one actually cares about. But back to the game. Um, yeah, he's gonna grab the Squawk. I personally disagree with this play. I think it's a bit too greedy, but I guess if you don't play Miraidon greedy, you're never going to get to the stage in the tournament. Miraidon wants to play greedy, it has to play greedy. Yeah. Whether this is definitely the greedy option, but the debate is whether or not the greedy option is correct or not. Now, Christian is going to get rid of a couple of very, very key resources here that are going to come to bite his ass in the future. First of all, the Switch. He has to play it. Anything else wouldn't make sense. The attachment to the Raikou. He doesn't get punished for this, but I think what he wants to do is he wants to attach from hand to an Iron Hands next turn, or this turn. And since he's playing the Squawk ability, he should be able to hit it anyway. So, yeah, I think he should have held the Lightning Energy, and then Squawked, and if he hits Miraidon Energy, he's chill. If not, he doesn't really need to worry about attacking with Raikou next turn anyway. It shouldn't be that hard to establish. So yeah, he's going to Squawk here. He's going to get rid of a Judge Path, right? I actually want to check something here for Simon's list. Simon is playing 2 Judge and 2 Path, okay? Remember that count. He's playing 2 Judge and 2 Path, okay? All right. Back to the game. He's going to draw 6 off the Squawk ability. He's going to see triple Ultra Ball. No, double Ultra Ball. Double Ultra Ball, Miraidon, Switch Cart, Generator, Lightning Energy. He's going to use the Miraidon first, of course. And get get Mareep and Iron Hands. There's really nothing else he would ever want to grab here. Quick blow my nose break because I am still sick. Because why wouldn't I be? But yeah, he's gonna grab the Mareep and the Iron Hands. And I believe he's gonna play the Generator after this. Yeah. 2-2 still finds the one. Yep. Oh, we're getting there. Alright, so Generator. Actually, let's take a look at his hand again. Because he's gonna play the Generator before he plays the Ultra Ball here. Which, there's some pros and cons that I like to quickly go over. If he plays the Ultra Ball first, obviously, he has more energies, or he has less energy, he has less non-energy cards in deck. Therefore, he's more likely to hit it. The con, I guess, is that... Actually, yeah, I can't really think of any, because he doesn't need the second Ultra Ball. At this point in the game, I think he wants to hold the Switch card, but he doesn't need the Switch card. But it's a very, very, very valuable tool in this matchup. But, yeah, I think he should have played Ultra Ball and gotten rid of probably Ultra Ball Switch card for Flaffy. Then played the Generator. Then used Mew. That's the order I would sequence that in. So yeah, Generator comes down. He's gonna hit 2. 2 onto the Iron Hands. He's gonna shuffle up, and then look at his hand and go like, oh wait, I'm going back in. Now, here, Simon's gonna make another play I disagree with. He's gonna get rid of the lightning energy off of this Ultra Ball. When Simon did this, with 1 card left in hand, on my side of the table, I immediately deduced and came to the conclusion that the last card in Simon's hand was a lightning energy. Now looking back, this is false, right? The reason I assume it's lightning energy, and the reason I think you should have kept the lightning energy, is because Simon's now going to grab a Faffy, and if the last card in his hand is lightning energy, he has a guaranteed amp you very much next turn. On board, no questions asked. By getting rid of this lightning energy, Simon can still theoretically whiff. So, this is still a missequence. He's going to hit the lightning, it doesn't matter, right? But, again, we're going to point everything out. I, of course, mean no hate to Simon. I'm going to be shitting on myself plenty during this game, especially in Game 2. But, yeah. He's going to get the Mareep, not Mareep, the Faffy, and then he's going to move for 1, because he hasn't done that yet. And the NA production is going to be NA, I guess. He's going to pass. He's going to hit the Path. The Path is a super, super, super good draw if you're Simon here. And to a certain extent, Simon is actually going to get rewarded for keeping the switch card. But we're going to get to that when we get to that. Now, my opening hand, if they'll show it, production, thank you, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm going to have a very, very, very solid opening hand here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to prioritize getting the Zard on the board before anything else. Because at this point, again, I am, completely convinced that 2 of the 3 cards in Simon's hand is Faffy energy, right? I always have to make that assumption. I always have to think that's what's there, just because he discarded an energy, right? So I need the Zard this turn. I need it to be in a position where it can threaten the Iron Hands next turn, right? Okay, so Battle of the AP Pass. I'm going to get Zard Comfy, shuffle up, and I believe I already have the Colress, or am I Pokegearing for Colress? I don't remember. Alright, so let's see here. I believe it's Pokegear, yeah. So when I have Pokegear in hand, real quick, always selecting first. I need to thin out cards that aren't Colress, right? Yeah, you always use your select things before you Pokegear. Assuming it's not like in a hand where you can't, spit afterwards because you retreated or something. But that's not the case here. I think my selecting here was Psychic Fire Energy, which is both really good because it lets me see the Psychic the Fire Energy, and really bad because I don't want to get rid of a Psychic this early. I don't need all 3 Psychic in this matchup by any means, but it's very, very, very early to get rid of one. So we're going to see this immediately bite me in the ass. As I'm going to retreat with the Fire, so I have the Raihan. I believe I already have the Raihan in my hand, if I'm not mistaken. And then I'm going to see Psychic Energy and Battle of the AP Pass. Now, I obviously want to keep Battle of the AP Pass, right? It's my guaranteed cram. But the other card was Psychic, and I can't get rid of 2 Psychic on turn 1. It's just not an option. So yeah, hand is good. I have Raihan, I have Energy, I have Switch cards. All I need here is a Colress. If I get to cram, we're super, super set. This is like the perfect hand to respond to Iron Hands on turn 2, right? Typically, my deck has a really, really hard time responding to Iron Hands as early as turn 2. But specifically here, we're fine. We're completely chilling. The hand is set up so well because of the Fire Energy in the discard. We're going to get the Colress. It's going to be great. It's all sunshine and rainbows. What could possibly go wrong? The Colress is going to be played. I'm going to find the Nest Ball, which is huge because it gives me the cram. I have the Beach Court, and I believe, so Fog Crystal, Nest Ball, Beach Court was what I grabbed. I got rid of, I believe, TM and Fog Crystal, so that's just objectively correct. I think that's super, super okay. Yeah. I'm going to play the Nest Ball, I'm going to cram, I'm going to spit. Yeah, just use switch card spit. Set up for Sableye. The spit is going to be super, super important later in the game. But now, Horus just top decked a Bravery Charm. Horus, unless I am completely mistaken, plays 2. He plays 2 Bravery Charms, right? So, that's not terribly unlikely, but, you know, it's one piece of the puzzle he needs. And yeah, so he's going to attach a Charm. He's going to evolve the Flaffy. He now has Switch Cart and Path, right? I still think that Switch Cart should be an energy. Pedro, thank you. Yeah, I think that Switch Cart should be an energy, but regardless, he's going to play the Switch Cart, which is going to let him have a Raikou turn here to Fleetfoot it, which is going to see him an extra card, which is fine. He's going to play the Mew, he's going to use Restart, and now he has Judge Path. He has Judge Path, and he has the Iron Hands ready. Of course, all he's needing now is an energy, which again, if he got rid of the Switch Cart instead, he would have had it, but he's going to Fleetfoot it, he's going to hit the energy regardless. He's going to hit it off the top. It's going to be energy, and he's going to use the Flaffy, and he's going to retreat. He didn't need to retreat there, but it doesn't matter that much. It's really not, you know, super, super important. And he's going to Path Judge. And you're going to see my reaction here. And yeah, I'm not very happy about it. Well, okay, I'm laughing, right? I'm impressed, but this is turn 2, okay? This is his turn 2 setup. By all means, this should be an unwinnable game for me. I also want you to remember that Simon squawked away his first judge and his first path on turn 1, and then on turn 2 restarts and top decks into Path, Judge, Charm. And yeah, it was not a good time to be me. And this is what possibly could go wrong, because my hand was awesome. My hand was perfectly set up to handle this. I was in a great position. Now all that's taken away. I have 4 in Lost Zone. Very few ways to reliably set up the Charizard next turn. I have to draw the absolute nuts. And I'm going to draw pretty well. I'm going to draw pretty well, just like 1 card short, but enough to keep me in the game. We're going to sit here in a bit. Sam's going to take a look for his discard pile. And once again, his hand is just, it's insane. It's so good. Theoretically, he already has the second Iron Hands, because if I hit the absolute nuts off of this Judge, he still has Tandem Unit for Iron Hands, attached to E, Generator, Boss or Rope, right? So yeah, absolute nut jaw from Simon here. He's going to play the Generator prematurely. This is by all means a misplay. He does not need to use this Generator, especially when he knows only play 1 Roxanne. He has this information. We played in round 10. And he's about to go to the 4 prize cards, right? This Generator shall not be played, and he's going to get punished for it. But regardless, the energies are going to go into Raikou. Again, I don't blame him, right? This is also Simon, I believe, 2nd regional. So I'm critiquing him a lot. I'm giving him a lot of shit. But at the end of the day, he's still playing like so much better than most people in the room. And the fact that it's his 2nd regionals and he's, you know, in the finals, that's credit enough as is, right? So again, I'm really nitpicking here. I'm really like finding every minor error I can. I mean, no disrespect to Simon. He's a great opponent, both in round 10 and the finals. He made me sweat for it. So, yeah. He's going to play the Generator. He's going to amp. And my hand is, I believe, I have the Raihan. I believe I have Raihan, Fog Crystal, Vacuum, Palpad, if I'm not mistaken, is my hand here. So I want to promote a Comfey, but I can't, because if I promote a Comfey and I don't find switching card, I'm not attacking Lizard. And with not attacking Lizard, I'm losing the game, right? Because my winning condition here is that I have to vacuum the Path to then hit the hands, hope he doesn't have Boss or Escape Rope, to then vacuum the Charm to knock out the hands, to then Zard again, right? That's where I kind of am here. Um, yeah, so I'm going to top deck, I believe, a Psychic Energy. I might have had the Psychic Energy beforehand, I forget. I either top deck the Psychic Energy or the Fog Crystal. Not that it really matters. Um, yeah, I'm going to play the Raihan. I'm going to waste some time thinking that I should Mirage Gate when I don't have 7 in Lost Zone. So I'm going to like think about Mirage Gating, and then I'm going to realize, oh hey, I don't have 7. Um, but I'm going to make a minor blunder here. Could you hear the crowd going? Yes, they need. I was just talking about this earlier, but they need to reinvest in some more noise canceling headphones. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab the T. I'm gonna attach the T. So I have an attack. After this, just being able to attack in the first place is an insane draw on my end. I should not be able to attack this turn. By all means, I should not have an attack. But we got there. I'm not getting rid of the charm though, which is really really scary. But it's something. Minor misplay here. I should have Fog Crystalled for Comfy to Lost on the Comfy. That would have been like an optimal thinning there. If anything, actually, I should have Fog Crystalled for Spiritomb to thin out the Spiritomb, to vacuum the Spiritomb. But, you know, yeah. That aside, I play the Pal Pad because I'm in top deck mode. My one card in hand is a Psychic Energy. We're living on a prayer right now, right? For all intents and purposes. And Simon's about to crush my hopes and dreams because he has Boss Escape Rope in hand. But I think we all know how the story ends. So let's see what Simon does here to fuck himself up here. So draw turn. It's a Bravery Charm. Not the most impactful. I think Bravery Charm on Rhydon is pretty nice. Because Bravery Charm Rhydon does not get one shot by a Sarge. So it's actually a pretty good follow-up attacker. It's a pretty good secondary attacker afterwards to this Iron Hands. But you can also hold it for a second Iron Hands. So there's some like back and forth there on like whether or not, yeah, like what's better there. So he's gonna use Flaffy, I believe, to Miraidon and attach Miraidon from hand and attach Big Charm. Yeah, so he's setting up this Miraidon as a follow-up attacker. I don't hate that necessarily. Now, Simon's going to make his first of many blunders here. And he's going to play the escape rope instead of the boss. Now, this isn't necessarily a terrible play. And again, I'm not going to fault Simon for making it because there's a lot of fucking pressure here. But, by all means, boss is always a better card to burn here because Rope is objectively always better than boss. It is always going to bail him out better than boss because A, it's a switching card, but more importantly, it does the exact same as boss, but it's an item, which means if he gets Roxanne here, which he's about to, he can use the rope later to use as like a pseudo boss, right? Which is what he'll need to win. Or switching out, hypothetically, if something got chopped the active, hypothetically, right? So he's gonna play the rope. He's gonna kill Comfy. He's going down to 2. At this point, I'm asking the judge how much time is left because I want to scoop. But I'm being told there's 60 minutes left on the clock. I'm like, okay, let's play it out. Let's see if we can make a miracle. Why not? I top deck. It's not Lost Vacuum. I top deck Colress. No, pause. I don't top deck Colress. I Comfy discard Heavy Ball, play Colress. Yeah. Yeah, at no point is Rope going to be worse than boss. Exactly. Yeah, so boss was always correct to play there, but again, yeah. Off of this Colress, I'm going to go to Beach Court because I know trapping. At this point, I'm thinking Trap Flaffy. Based off the board, I'm thinking Trap Flaffy. It's my only win condition. I kind of have to play with whatever I have here. So the Beach Court is obviously a no-go. Beach Court doesn't help the Flaffy, so I guess it doesn't matter that much. But I think between what's left in my hand is not as valuable. But I believe I'm going to get rid of I get rid of a Fire Energy. I keep a Raihan here, if I'm not mistaken. Raihan, Switch Card, Psychic. I don't need the Fire Energy by any means. I really don't need the second Fire at this point in the game. But I also really don't need the Raihan because I'm not Roxanning next turn, I'm losing. And after that turn, I can't play the Raihan because if he knocks anything out, I lose. So Raihan's completely dead card here, um, which means I guess I shouldn't have shuffled it with Palpat the turn before. But I think I only had the Raihan. The Raihan would have been fine. It would have been a fine top deck because I'm assuming he's going to knock out my Charizard, right? But yeah, regardless, I'm going to attach from hand to Comfey. And I'm just going to have to hit him again with the Zard and hope he doesn't have it. Now, this is where Simon wonders really, really, really poorly. Because Simon here has Boss, DTE, Generator in hand. Which means if he hits a singular lightning, one lightning off this generator, he has game. Because he can Boss Comfey, Miraidon for the hands, attach DTE, Generator, 1 energy, Flaffy, Amp, game, right? He just wraps up there, he cleans it up. But the thing is that this is just too greedy on Simon's end. Because if he just hits me with Miraidon, attaches to Flaffy, and goes to 1 prize card, I have no way of winning, right? I can take another 2, right? If anything, he can Miraidon from Miraidon or bench the Miraidon in his hand and play Generator then, as long as he has, like, even, like, attaching DTE to Flaffy would have been super okay. Attaching DTE to Flaffy, Dynamotor to second Miraidon, like, Generator, whatever, right? Yeah. The grabbing of the Iron Hands here, while theoretically, Simon, if he hits just 1 energy off the Generator, it's really not that big of an ask, right? He wins the game on the spot, but he's gonna get punished for it. And yeah, and he's like Simon's in the finals. He sees victory before his eyes, and he's gonna try for it. I'm not gonna fault him for that, but it's more so what he does it afterwards that gets really questionable because he's gonna play the Generator, and he's gonna completely whiff. Nothing off the Generator, whips win. Okay, Simon, what now? This is where it gets a bit risky. So he has DTE. He has DTE Lightning. This DTE is really, really, really important because he has to attach. No, he doesn't. Okay, here's what he has to do. He has, I believe, Research in hand. If I can see his hand again. Yeah, he has Research. So here's what he does. Here's what he's supposed to do, in my opinion, looking at it several days after the event, right? Having had 24 plus hours to think about a singular turn of Pokemon. Simon needs to Boss Comfey, attack with Raikou, Dynamotor to Flaffy, and attach DTE to Iron Hands. This will leave him with Research Miraidon in hand. Oh, and he can also then restart for 1 and Fleet-footed for 1, so extra cards. The reason he should have done it like this, is because then I can't trap anything. Like trapping stuff is just completely pointless at that point. And Simon will win the War of Attrition, easily, right? What he's gonna do instead is about to cost him a tournament. He's going to think about it. He's gonna Dynamotor to the Miraidon, because he's going to knock out the Charizard. Not inherently terrible. He's going to contemplate where to attach his energy. He's going to contemplate whether or not to attach the DTE. But he's going to end up deciding to do Lightning to Flaffy. Now, this means that this Iron Hands has been left completely unguarded and completely unpowered up. Which gives me exactly 1 win condition to win this game. Which, by the way, I don't even need to stall a singular turn off of him. Because I know he's used Escape Rope, he's used Switch, and he's used Switching Guard. All 3 of them are gone. Which means with 0 energy on this Iron Hands, I don't even need to Roxanne him. All I need to do is Sableye the Mew, and then Zard the Iron Hands. Because for 1 singular turn, regardless of how well he draws, that Iron Hands with no energy is stuck. Period. Right? I just need to counter catch it. That's all I need to do. Yes, I realized that immediately when he did that. That was my immediate game plan. I snapped at it. It was my only win condition. Yeah. You're gonna see me check here. 1, 2, 3. Yep. I already know. I already have the information on his switching count because we played in round 10, right? Contrary to top 4, where I had no information of my opponent's deck and I was just guessing. In the finals, I know everything I need to about Simon's 60. I don't have his 60, but I know what I need to know, right? Now, here's the problem. My hand's still shit. I only have Aiden Lost Zone, and I have a singular Comfy. Regardless of knowing that I need to make the Roxanne, or I don't even need Roxanne, but the counter should play, my hand is still really awful, right? I have very, very few win conditions, or I have the one win condition to be exact, but I have really few ways to hit into it. I don't believe this Comfy's going to find me anything really that great. I'm going to rid of a rope because the rope's kind of useless here. I'm going to use counter catcher. I'm going to rod. I'm going to rod back. Yeah, and this is fine. I'm eliminating Clara as an out, but I think when I'm drawing a fresh 6 off of this Roxanne, I think it's okay. So we're going to counter catcher the Iron Hands. I'm going to play the Roxanne. Obviously, the hand disruption is very, very good, but it's more so just because I need to see a new hand, right? I need to draw cards. So yeah. I'm going to play the Roxanne, shuffle up, and I'm going to draw really shitty. Which means I'm now once again at Simon's mercy because I'm going to whiff the Sableye here. I'm going to shuffle his deck. He's going to draw 2. I'm going to draw 6. And the production should look at my hand. Yep. Artisan. All right. Sableye. Pretty good. Then Jirachi and 3 supporters. Fucking terrible. It's really, really, really bad. Just an absolute tragic hand. I'm going to mention Sableye. I'm going to Artisan for Comfy to hit 10. Now, because I rotted last turn, I actually think I'm going to make a pretty big misplay. I don't get punished, but I think I'm making a pretty big misplay here. Grabbing the Comfy is completely fine. Grabbing the Comfy is super okay. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to retreat into the Comfy and I'm going to Flower Selecting. The reason this is bad, well, yes, I'm seeing another card. Seeing another card is great. The reason this is bad is because with the supporter cards in my hand, Raihan is dead. I have 2 Raihans in my hand. They're both dead. Dead cards. I only have Clara. If I leave the active Comfy with an energy on it in the active, the next turn goes by, I selecting, I hit 10. Then I retreat into Sableye. I have Clara for energy. I have it, right? When I retreat here into the second Comfy, yes, I'm seeing another card, but it's just going to be a Zard, which is good, but like I can't really use it yet. And an escape rope that I have to get rid of because my second card is Zard. Now, Clara isn't getting me shit next turn. Clara gets me retreat into Sableye. Okay, what now? Right? Cram is effectively useless, right? So it's actually a massive blunder on my end. And I think I realized it immediately after I did it, that using this Comfy was very, very, very dumb and could have very well cost me the game. However, I am going to Roxanne Simon into DTE, Lightning Energy, Iono. And Simon, I think from Simon's perspective, he absolutely plays the Iono here, 100%. But it's going to be a real blessing for me. So he's going to draw turn. He's going to look at his discard pile, make some decisions. He's going to attach DTE, which is like the worst thing I can see right now. I really, really did not want to see DTE there. Especially knowing he has Beach Court left. He's going to play the Iono. And off of the Iono, I'm going to draw pretty damn well. But so is Simon. He's going to see a research. Very, very, very good. And then off of this Mew, he's going to find the Beach Court. Which means Simon, by all means, has game in hand for next turn. Right? This is, really, really, really great draw off of this Roxanne from Simon. It's put him in an amazing spot. Yeah, he's going to Flaffy. Now, another thing to note here is that I'm pretty sure Simon should only have 2 energies left. 2 energies, 2 Force Seal Stones. So the draw isn't free, but it should be pretty likely as far as Simon is concerned. And he's statistically very, very, very likely to have a game next turn. So he's going to pass. I'm going to draw pretty damn well off of that Iono. I'm just going to use the Artisan to thin out. I'm just going to grab Spiritomb. Like, doesn't really matter. It can be whatever at this point. Selecting, I think it's like Nest Ball. Oh, here's another blunder. Here's another bad play I make. I get rid of the nest ball and I grab a switch card. Now I need retreat here, right? So switch card, pretty good. The only thing wrong with it is that I have escape rope and counter catcher in hand, right? Obviously, if something gets knocked out next turn, I lose the game regardless. So I always assume that after I use Save Light this turn, I can retreat into my charge card next turn, right? I have the fire energy, and if I keep this nest ball, I have the Zard, right? Then I have the guaranteed Zard because the Zard is still in deck. He just Ionaed it to the bottom, right? Problem being, I keep the switch card, thinking I need to use switch card to get into my Sableye because escape rope counter catch, because escape rope is going to lose me the game regardless. So yeah, that's the play I'm going to make. I'm going to look at my hand afterwards and realize, hey, that was kind of a blunder. I'm going to play the switch card regardless. I think I'm going to play a Clara and yeah, get the psychic. And I'm going to use switch card to retreat. So I still have the counter catcher escape rope in hand. It's still there. But yeah, I'm just gonna knock out the Mew. It's not looking super great. This was a blunder in my hand because if Simon whiffed, I would have a game in hand. Now again, I still hit it. I still have Chorus. Chorus is still there. Actually, I think I hit Chorus off the prize cards, so I really just get lucky. So getting rid of the nest ball was just by all means a huge misplay on my end. Where this 2 goes doesn't matter. Theoretically, it is optimal to put it on the Miraidon because if I put 2 in Miraidon, I can one-shot Miraidon with Charm with the Zard. But if the Miraidon goes in the active, I lose anyway. So knowing he's down 2 Charms, it doesn't matter where this damage goes. But theoretically, it is technically optimal on Miraidon. But Simon's going to draw for turn. He's going to use Tandem Unit. He's going to see 2 Lightning Energies and 2 Forest Sealstones as his outs, which, I mean, isn't a lot, but he's still drawing 7. So by all means, he's very likely to hit it. He's going to play the Beach Court, and when he plays the Beach Court in the research, I'm like, cool, you got it. GG's. Game 2. Right? But as soon as we look at his hand, the crowd makes a bunch of noise. I look at Simon's face, and I go, ain't no way you don't have it. Doesn't say anything. He just keeps staring at his hand and starts to look really depressed and shake his head and the whole 9 yards, right? Now, obviously, I had to get very lucky for Simon to whiff. By proxy, Simon had to get very unlucky to whiff. But what's very important about this board state and what people need to learn from it is that Simon never needed to be in this position, right? The Iron Hands didn't need to hit the board. The Flaffy and the Miraidon didn't need to have the energies. The boss didn't need to be left. It's very small mistakes Simon has made at this point. I don't think there's one singular big misplay Simon made. It's a bunch of smaller, slightly greedy plays that have built up over time and put Simon in a spot where he can whiff. Not will whiff, can whiff. It's a bunch of micro decisions and a bunch of very small misplays that have led up to a position where Simon, theoretically, from an unbeatable board state, can still lose the game. Even if it's just 1%. It's not, but even if it's just 1%, it is just, you know, you should never want to put yourself in a position where that could happen, right? Yeah, there are a number of ways you could play better. Yeah, no, there are a bunch of small ways, right? Again, I don't want to give Simon too much shit for this, because fundamentally speaking, he still played like pretty well, all things considered. I think we're very critical of stream games. I think a lot of people expect a lot more from people who play on streams, but Simon, fundamentally speaking, throughout the day of Pokemon, still played well enough to make the finals. Simon is, objectively speaking, a very good Pokemon player. But good players can make bad plays, and this is one of them. So, I promise it's the last time I'll talk about that, but regardless, Simon is going to, you know, reap what he sows. He's going to draw very poorly here. He's going to Ultra Ball. He's going to Fin. He's going to look at the deck, get really depressed that he whiffed. He's going to pass over to me. And of course, because my dumbass didn't keep the nest ball, I need to hit now. But of course, I just thin with the Mirage Gate. I play the Colress. I slam the Zard down, I attach, and we go to game 2, right? And we get there, and we make it happen, right? Yeah. So amazing comeback. I'm gonna give myself some quick credit here, right? I do think I played really well. I think I outdid I think I outdid myself. This is probably one of the games in the tournament where I played the absolute best. I still made several misplays, right? But I think identifying that line probably won me the regional, right? By all means. But yeah, it's you know, it's hard to be in that position. But yeah, I think I played well. I just with the lines. I had to get lucky. I had to hit the Roxanne off the prize cards. I had to have the counter catcher. I had to a bunch of stuff, right? But again, it's about this kind of goes back to how Christian Hodas played in our top 4 game from an unwinnable position. It's not about you shouldn't be playing not to lose. You should be playing to the win conditions that exist. You should be finding a possible line where you can theoretically win and play towards that line, regardless of how unlikely it is. Right now, if you're time pressed, you don't have time. You're game 1 in the best of 3. Scoop it up. Don't bother. If this had been Swiss, I would have scooped after the second Iron Hands, no questions asked. Right? I would never have played this out. But it's top cut, and we have additional time. When you're in that situation, absolutely use that time. Right? We're about to go into game 2 after a very long, very grindy game 1 with 46 minutes left in the clock. If this had been Swiss, this would effectively mean we spent 5 minutes on game 1. 4 minutes. 4 minutes in game 1. Right? It is just, yeah, it is, like it's very, very unlikely that anyone is ever able to win from that position. But when the line is there and you have the time to play it out, absolutely go for it. Don't give in. Don't give up. Right? There's a difference between giving up and knowing when to scoop. Right? And in this very specific situation, I could take the chance because I didn't need to scoop because of top cut time, and it won me the game. Now this one's gonna be quick. Simon's gonna choose to go first. I want to take a look at my prize cards real quick because they are going to matter. Spiritomb, Manaphy, Cramorant, prized. This is important. We're gonna get there later. Simon is gonna prize pretty average. The Mew sucks, but regardless, it doesn't matter. Simon's gonna draw off turn. It's gonna be supporter, and Simon's hand is dead. It's completely dead. There's nothing going on here. He literally only has one play, and that's attached to Reap and Bass. Okay, so now, be me. You're sitting in the finals. You're up a game. Your opponent uses Marie. Your opponent has Marie active attach pass. Immediately, the only thing that is going through my head is, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Clear head. Don't misplay. Don't push too far for the donk. Right? Play this game like a normal game of Pokemon, assuming you don't have Cram. Because my hand was garbage. I had switch cards galore and an Artisan. That's it. Nothing else. So the entire time, I'm just telling myself to not overthink it, to not get in my own head, and I'm going to do it anyway. But I'm going to Artisan, and I'm going to price check here. I want to make it absolutely clear, by the way, that what I'm price checking here is my energy count and my attackers. So for all intents and purposes, yes, I knew I prized the Cram. I want to make that public. I want to make that absolutely clear. I knew I prized the Cramorant, right? However, on the fateful flower selecting, well, we'll get there when we get there, right? But, yeah, I'm going to prize check. I'm going to grab Comfey. Now, there is an argument to be made for not using the Artisan until after the first flower selecting, because seeing Comfy from selecting is good. The counterpoint to that is that I want to price check before I ever use flower selecting or Colress. Hence why I grab the Comfy here instead of the Cramorant, because I have so many switch cards and I need to be able to see as many outscores as physically possible, right? So that's what's going to happen. I'm going to shuffle up. Simon is going to cut my deck. I'm going to flower selecting, and we're going to see the Colress. And no Comfy. Okay, so I'm going to do something kind of dumb here. And that's going to start with this Colress. I get rid of Beach Court and Roxanne. That's fine. That's completely okay. I already used the Stadium, being the Artisan, so the Peach Court is useless, and getting rid of the Roxanne here is fine. The debate was between Roxanne and Countercatcher. Countercatcher has more uses. But still no Cram. Here's where I blunder. I'm going to play this Fog Crystal, and what I should have done is should have grabbed a Comfy. If I'm not mistaken, because I don't typically price check my Comfy counts. Yeah, I price a Spiritomb, not a Comfy. So there is a Comfy in deck. I'm going to grab a Psychic Energy instead. I have 2 switch cards in hand. There is no reason for me to be grabbing a Psychic Energy off of this Fog Crystal. If anything, holding the Fog Crystal might have been okay, but I should definitely have grabbed a Comfy if I played it. But I'm gonna grab the Psychic. I don't need the retreat. I don't even remotely need the retreat. But yeah. So here's another reason why I should have grabbed the why I should have grabbed a what's it called, the Comfy, is because if I say the Heavy Ball was like a dead card, right? I should have grabbed. I could have gotten the switch card and then gotten to Comfy again. Whereas here, I like, let's say the Heavy Ball wasn't there. I could have wrecked. I could have not had it here, right? Now, that aside, I have the second. I play the second Comfy. I see the Heavy Ball. Yes, I price checked for the Cramorant. However, I'm now testing my own memory, making sure that the Cramorant I remember not being in the deck wasn't last game, or last round, or last time I played against Simon, right? I'm just, yes, I tweeted that I'm streaming. Yeah, just, I mean, I knew the Cram was there. But the question and what I'm debating here was whether or not I trusted my own memory enough to make the call. Now, I check my hand and I realize the switch card ain't gonna do me shit anyway, because I have switch cards and I don't have another Comfy because I kind of blundered my Fog Crystal, right? And that aside, we're gonna play the Heavy Ball, we're gonna see the Cram, and just like that, I'm gonna win a regionals. End of story. That's how that went. Very, very fun time. And yeah, that was the end of that. So yeah, I definitely made my fair share of blunders. So did my opponents. But again, Pokemon is a game that no one is ever going to play perfectly. No one is ever going to no one's ever going to play 100% optimally in every game. And we have to remember that from an outsider looking into a game, it's a lot easier to identify key plays than it is for the player who who's sitting there, especially on stream, especially when there's so much pressure. So yeah.